We can't get it. The gnat spirit is equivalent to a person who keeps stuff going inside the church, and when you ask them where they got it from, they say, well, I don't want to deal with that. Yet at the same time, they keep it on the problem, Lord. So, I started off. Now, I hope this is evidence of what's going to happen this week to us. So last night started the conference there, so I opened up the conference there, and then came to you. So this is why I was a little bit late. And I always ask God when I start talking to guide me in what I'm saying and what I'm speaking and where I'm going. What's really next. Like, wow, that was a wow moment. You ever, many of us have never seen a live sheep or a live goat. Bugs and stuff like that. Really loves them. Yeah, and they're flying around the walls, always around their nose and blah, 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 blah. And so imagine what's going on inside. I pray that what we will discuss will flush and cleanse our nostrils also, so that we begin in this season to see things absolutely, totally different. Now, I'm going to start. Now, prophetically, in the season, placed. Okay? Being showed the world a different side of black, how that black world alone. They did a Gallup poll week before last, and Barack and Michelle Obama are the most popular people on the planet. Right now, on the planet. It showed us what black people can do. How black people. Donald Trump became the president, and he's showing us the worst of what white people are. So now, Barack is being replaced with what? With the opposite. Because how Barack was, that was the picture and the depiction of our nation, and how white people are and black people must subscribe or rise to that level, to that particular occasion. Now, we're seeing the opposite. The other day, 4 days ago, a young guy drives for 12 hours to El Paso, and he starts shooting people, and people are on the floor dead. They just got they're fighting right now to get a video camcorder that the police officer took from a person to get it back, because recorded on it is while the black boy is shooting, he's saying, "Hail Trump." He's saying, "Hail Hitler, hail Trump." Hallel means holy. rhetoric, young people can't take it, is forming and shaping an opinion inside of them. Okay. Your great-grandmother can tell you the story of crosses being burned on the lawns and different things happening to them. We will tell our great-grandchildren using crosses and started using bullets. That's where we are. There's a huge battle between the evangelical church, which is traditionally a Southern Baptist, and the other ecumenical churches. There's a battle going on. We have entered into the first stage of what the Bible talks about, the race war, and it's on. And it's not Donald Trump's fault that it's on, because it was always there. But what he just did, he's done, he stirred it up and he's amplified it, and he does stuff like wink, 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 and wink, 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 and he keeps on winking at them, and they keep from every different end. The reason why it's going to be so bad nobody is going to put you or me in chains. You see, I wasn't born with the slave mentality. Chained here. And with that 8 years of Barack, it freed people. It is said now 36 to 42% of the nation actually believes that a wall is 2/3 built. There's been no construction on a wall anywhere. We live in a time of the day that if a person says it, you believe it, Keisha, do you have my video there with the bananas? If you do, let me know when you're ready. So we're going to fight for ourselves, or we're going to move into position and be the church that God has anointed and called us to be. And that by itself is serious business. Everybody say serious business. Serious business. That by itself is serious business. And we have to learn and know how to be great warriors. So I'm on this truth series out of my book called Vantage Point, and I saw a commercial on television. I saw several commercials, but I saw a commercial that is the manifestation of something that was spoken 20-something years ago. It was 22 or 23 years ago, where Oprah Winfrey, on one of her programs, actually had the clip of her actually saying it. She made a statement that, ready? Okay. I'll let you know. She made a statement that even if it's not a fact, if it's true to you, then it's your truth. It's your truth. Now, I get what she's saying. I understand it. This is what happened to you. And if you believe this, then this is what you believe, then this is your truth. So now we have 20 years later. It took 20 years for that tree to grow and produce the fruit. So now we have this principle here that says my truth. So most people don't tell you the truth. They tell you their truth. Their truth. And I say, well, let me tell you my truth. Let me tell you what is true. I didn't know that truth was personal. This is it. Now, so the foundation of the very foundation of the Black Lives Matter organization is my truth. The very foundation of the LGBTYZX, because they got like 22, and I'm not cracking a joke, they have 22 letters in their sexual language right now. They They're creating a world that everyone must exist in. They'll have gay parades, gay pride parades. There's no parade in America that says this is a heterosexual parade. Heterosexuals don't have to announce anything. We are what we are. And the Me Too movement. And the Me Too movement is right and correct, and I get it. I get it. But who among us in this room did not do something 40 years ago? How would you like some 40 years ago, 50 years ago, 10? I'm talking about in the Christian arena, because the basis for everything that we believe is repentance and coming to God. We all function out of I used to be. I used to be. I used to, and this is why telling your story in the old church was very, very important. So that when somebody came at you, you say, oh no. But if you didn't tell it, then you conceal it. Are you ready? Let's see which one you have.
Somewhere buried within it is an apple. Some people might try to tell you that there's no point in looking for it. But there's only one way to know what's been covered up. You start digging.
Did you get it? It started before you could get the whole thing. Start it again. I don't know why y'all keep these things up. Let's try it again.
This is a whole bunch of bananas. Somewhere buried within it is an apple. Some people might try to tell you there's no point in looking for what's been covered up. You start digging.
That is, without a shadow of a doubt, the church's great problem. We don't dig. And what gets the digging? What does this led to? Do we have to know that? Yes, we do. Why do we all? But let's just not do that. Let's just focus in this season and touch your neighbor and say, and get it right. Get it right. Okay. So we're in the season of replacement. All of the old guys, the new guys, and the new young guys are articulate. They got finesse and charisma and what have you, but they don't have deep depth. And instead of the older guys reinventing themselves, they sit and die, which means that what we was taught, what we knew, what is the foundation of our faith and everything like that, is now dying simply because we won't dig. We won't dig. We won't dig. Now, can we be honest for a quick second? Honestly, for that was a question. Yes. Yeah. Can we be honest for a quick second? Yes. Yeah. Okay. It was amazing for a few moments to find out of the sheep what was we just heard, right? In the bunker, and I'm going to say this here, and this is powerful, and that's this. There are three words that keeps on messing you guys up and you refuse to get rid of it. What are the 3 words? I know that. The minute you say in a room, I know that, you close the door on any new information. Because we don't have to go over that because what? You know it. The 3 words that opens up the world to you is what? I know. When you don't know, say, did you know? No, I didn't know that. Well, let me tell you this. This is what you do, the da 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 da, and da 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 da. When you go into Dr. Seymour's church, there's coins on the floor. I don't know, we used to call them silver dollars. What do they call them now? They call them gold dollars. The gold dollars are on the floor. Right? So someone walk into the room and see dollars on the floor. I don't know, I guess they just put, somebody needs a drop or somebody might not see all of them and see one and go, somebody lost something, or praise God. Okay? Why are those on the floor at your church? Okay, now, she said what? Of bananas. I would. And one would say by digging, okay? And what do you use to dig? In this scenario, what do you use to dig? Use your tongue. You're going to ask, what is this? Now, she said it represents what? It represents prosperity and success. So you have to say to her, how do you know that? Now, most people are not going to ask her, how does she know it? You know why? Because she's a billboard for it. She's not going to ask her how she know it. Because you're going to see what she drives, where she lives, so you already know. She's got it. We don't want to know. We're not dealing with whether you got it or not, Adelia. What we want to deal with is how. Now, does she want people asking her that question? Does she want people asking her that question? The answer to that, I answer for it, is yes. Well, Bishop, how you do that? Because she put the reference. She says, when you come here, ask me how to get what I got. Do you not know that God wants you to treat him as if he has Alzheimer's or dementia? God does not want you coming to him first as the all-wise and all-knowing God. He don't want you to come to him like that. He wants you to come to him reminding him of what he said to you. So he says, I'll dumb myself down to see if you value me, to figure out what I said I was going to do for you. And then when you come to me, don't come asking me. Come telling me what I said I was going to do. Lord, you said that if I do this, this is what was going to happen. Yes. And he says, keep me what? In remembrance of my word. Now, different. Say this, that's different. I never looked at, but it's right there. It's right there. And when the prophets prayed to God, they prayed to God saying, Lord, you said, or you swore by this oath, or you declared this, and now they demand from God what he said. So you have some people who are still chief of sinners, living a prosperous lifestyle because they remember what God said. It does not matter what your moral condition is. Right. What matters is that he said it. Now you can talk yourself out of what he said. Okay, I know you don't agree with it. I get you. That's why you're stuck now. Agree with it. The Spirit of God, in terms of blessings, is ancestral and generational. And it might skip a generation because the generation that it skipped didn't have enough wisdom to embrace it. So it skipped a generation, but it shows back up in the bloodline. And it has nothing to do with your education, nothing to do with your background, your schooling. It has to do with the mere fact that during the genealogy, God says that this entire nation is going to be blessed. The nation of Bloom. I'm telling you, the whole entire nation is going to be blessed. So even when it seems like it's over and done with nothing, I turn a corner and everything is right there. Is this bad teaching yet? And so we can only give what we have. So I've entered into the season of now getting everything that the Lord promised to me to get. I want what he promised me I was supposed to have. And he's saying to me, well, bring me the list. Now I'm at a disadvantage because I was running my mouth without having the information on what he promised to me. What he promised to me through my mama, through my father, through prophetic words, and some of them I just threw away because I did not see myself worthy or able to be able to stand to hold those kind of blessings, to only find out that this was the will of God. It was the will of God. And when a person's last will and testament is read, there are people who are happy and there are people who are unhappy. Because you find out how the person feels about you, not when they are alive. You find out how they feel about you when they die. And this is what Jesus did for the church. He did not show us how he felt about us when he was alive. He showed us how he felt about us when he died. That's why he died, because he felt a way about us. Are you hearing what I'm saying? And I will that thou will prosper and be in health, even as your soul shall prosper. I will prosperity for you in unbelievable ways. I'm going to place a seed in your hand and see what you do with it. See who you care about and how you're going to operate. And I'm going to allow you to build the kingdom that you're going to build and live with the results of the kingdom that you have built. We're in a season now of replacement. 33% of the vision are black women now. It never happened in the history of this nation. Black women right now. Black women. Telling you. Right? And the shift is coming in. So you have the system who is in place, and the system is very, very upset. Fighting everything. Everything is being replaced. What is it called? Amazon? Amazon has replaced the post office. Email has replaced the mailman. Everything is being what? Replaced. We're in the season of replacement. If Amazon.com decides that is no longer going to use the post office, United States Post Office, guess what? It will shut down. 79-point-something% of the business that the post office is doing is through one man, Amazon.com. He's using them to move the package and stuff like that, and he's figuring out ways not to even use them. People don't mail letters like they used to mail them anymore. Everything is electronic. Everything is being moved and everything is being replaced. And I said it about 9-10 years ago, small is the new big, everything is changing. I'm going to tell every storefront, small pastor, get this big junk out of your head and begin to work the field that God has given you, because the new buyer's market is small churches. Small churches. I was a part of the planning of the first Mega Fest where we had 300,000 people. I was part of the second Mega Fest when we had 300,000 people. I was part of the third Mega Fest when we had 100,000. I was part of the last Mega Fest when we just had 16,000. So you go from 300,000 to 16,000. Of course, you go into the room, it looks good and stuff like that, but it's not the Dome, it's not the World Congress Center, and it's not a Phillips Arena. All three arenas, and every single, where you had to pay the city $1 million for 4 days to put more. Economy shifted. When it did, everything. People, kiosks have replaced people working. Very few people work on a job that the job will give you 40 hours. They figured out how to take 40 hours and give it to 4 people. They have no regard or respect for you, especially if you're working for fast food, those kind of, or retail. Retail will bring you in for 3 hours, and 3 hours at an odd time. You're going to work from 3 to 6. So you can't even really manage another job if you, and you have to be on call. All of this kind of stuff. Everything is being what? Replaced. And so the church had better open up their eyes to begin to see that replacement is coming. And we saw it. You watch TV, and you see a guy, this is my Bible. I'll do what it says. I'll sit. Because Joel Osteen's cotton candy message has replaced us. Because people don't want to get saved anymore. People want to be blessed. So all you running around there trying to save souls, you'll be saving souls with 4 people sitting in front of you. And the people who bless people will have thousands. This same message of salvation to the same people who are already saved does not work. You're already saved. You don't even give an altar call. I know everybody in the building won't give an altar call.
Right.
Well, there might be somebody that want to rededicate their life. If they got saved this Sunday and they need to rededicate their life next Sunday, they didn't get saved this Sunday. I don't have no time for this. And I'm not against altar calls. But I want to challenge every last one of you in this building. Show me the altar call in the Bible. There is none. It doesn't exist. Altar calls are set up for church growth and membership. And the Baptists knew it well. So they extend the right hand of fellowship to enter you in, and as soon as you come in, they give you a position to work to keep your behind in that building so that the organization can grow. So now you're in the kingdom, smoking cigarettes in front of the church.
Yeah.
Replaced. We're being replaced. And so this young group who is coming up, they're now asking us questions. How did we get to where we are? How did we get to this knowledge, this understanding of where we are? And we can't explain it. So I've decided, and this is what I want to pass on to all of you, I've decided not to try to fix my father's sins. I've decided to stick to the part of the Bible that I know and the part that God has revealed unto me, and to use my creative authority to create scenarios that will make people ask me, how or where did I get that from? How or where did I get it? Now don't follow me in this and do it in your church if you're not going to be committed to 2 hours or 3 hours of study a day. Because if you open up the floor for questions, people are going to ask. And you better be able to answer. Now we hold that, and then you throw something out there, and people ask you a question, and guess what? You can't answer it. Bishop, I feel set up. Oh, wait, let's stop this here. You weren't set up. You set up. Now we're trying to get you to stand up on what you set up. Prove this to me. Isn't that what Jesus did? They come to Jesus and they say that. Jesus said, by what authority do you speak these things? So Jesus asked him the question, where'd you get it from? Okay? So that's what this week is going to be about. It's going to be a time of coming together, fellowshipping, a whole lot of preaching, some good eating, tremendous fellowship, shave off all the fat. Who want to stay, stay. Who don't want to be with us, go. Blah, 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 blah. And let's prepare ourselves for 2020 to see God do some miraculous things in this new year that is coming. All right, one last thing. And I want to do a few Q's and A's with you. That's great. A lot of churches start today because they can't submit to a leader. So if that's the foundation of that particular church, what type of leaders is that leader? On the shirt, the reason for the mitre, the reason for the bell, the reason for the crowns and the tassels at the bottom of the reason for the ephod that the priest would wear on his chest, okay, is now being taught. It's not. Heard about it before, right? What was the ephod? Do you know what the ephod is? And that's what we keep on saying, but what is it? What does it represent? Huh? What does it represent? What does it represent? And it's okay. I heard about it. I didn't get that far in my Bible. Who in here knows what the ashes of the red heifer is? And you tell the truth, really. You may not. Well, if you don't have the ashes of the red heifer, then the eschatology, because we're not into that. We're into worship and praise. So we don't know terms. It's Jews, right? And the Jews represent, huh? So I said the 12 disciples, the 12 apostles, the 12 tribes of Israel. It may bear the colors of the 12 tribes of Israel, but what the ephod is, are you ready for this? The ephod is what you do every time you pray, if you're filled with the Holy Ghost. Ask me, what is that?
What is that?
Speak in tongues. The ephod is tongues in the Old Testament. Anytime something happened, you had to go get the ephod. When you got the ephod, you put the ephod on, and then you would stand against the wall in front of a candlelight, and you would ask the ephod questions, and words would come up on the ephod and shoot them to the wall, and that's how they got the information. The ephod. So David comes back and he realizes that they had come to Ziklag and they'd taken his wives, children, and concubine. And he goes and he says, "Look, I'm sitting there." And he said, "Go and get the ephod." He goes and gets the ephod and he inquires of the ephod. So he's now asking the ephod questions. The ephod is tongues. Inside every one of the jewels was letters. And what happened when you started speaking to the ephod, it would light up and the lights would shoot, the project on the wall. And so you would say that, and they would take those different terms, pull the terms together, and the next priest would come and interpret what the ephod said. So if I hear a word from God, I say, that's all I know. If I go further to tell you what God did. All right, we'll stop right now. That's a counterfeit. Because if I pray in tongues, then there must be another person to interpret the tongues that was prayed, and then another who judged the person who interpreted the tongues that was prayed. Find the scripture for me. We live in a time in the day where people are speaking in tongues and interpreting their own tongues, which is counterfeit. So the ephod, they would inquire of the ephod, and the priest would come in and they would see the writing, and then they would say, "Rise, go, and pursue this camp, and you shall recover all." That's the ephod talking. It's the ephod talking. It's not just the robe. It's the pattern of God from Old Testament to New Testament, because it's not two books. It's one book, and one is fulfilled in the other. Who was Lucifer in heaven? He was the head worshiping angel. That's who Lucifer was, right? Up in heaven. We all agree to that, right? I'm not tricking you. We all agree to that, right? Good. We all agree to that. And he's the angel up in heaven. That's who he is, right? Okay. He has tabrets on one side and flutes on the other. Okay. But he also has the ephod on. Lucifer has the ephod. He's the embodiment of the ephod. Now you're looking at me strange. Ezekiel 28, 13. I think it's Ezekiel 28. Ezekiel 28. So not only does he have rhythm and beat, but he is the embodiment of an ephod. Watch what it says. It says, "Thou hast been eaten in the garden of God. Every precious stone was thy covering. The sardius, the topaz, the emerald, the diamond." He has his whole body is an ephod. You got it?
Ezekiel 28 and 13.
13.
You have been in Eden, the garden of God. Stone was your covering. The sardius, topaz, and the diamond, the beryl, the onyx, and the jasper.
Now, if you go and look at stones on the ephod, all of those are the colors of the ephod. Is where when Satan falls and he crashes to the earth, the Lord takes the ephod and places it into the hands of the priest. Okay, for a reason. In the Old Testament, how do you cast out demons in the Old Testament? Now, in the New Testament, you cast out demons. I bind you, I command you to come out. In the Old Testament, how do you cast out demons? Well, let me show you. And an evil spirit from the Lord came to trouble Saul. He's possessed with a spirit of oppression. How do you cast it out? By So the two instruments that Satan was, the ephod and music, is now placed in the hands of believers. It's very, very serious. Okay? Come on. There's a problem with that. There's a problem with that. Someone is off in its clap. And when we get it together all at the same time, we start raising up their head. As long as there is someone within the camp, say, person who's off kilter, so he doesn't employ anybody there. One person keeps it off. We're almost there. You to something else rather than what is actually laid out. Once he has that person in place, he doesn't have to come. He ain't keep saying ain't there. A whole bunch of devils and demons. No, you are the devil and the demon. You are it. You are it. You don't do nothing the pastor says. You got a problem with everything. Everything bothers you. You're always sitting sideways. I got it. You are the problem. And what really, really makes it bad is that we figure out so we handle his business for free, volunteers. That's what's making Donald Trump so powerful. That's what's making this. Everybody is saying the same thing, and the ones that disagree ain't saying. There is no distinction in the Republican Party. Even the ones who do not agree ain't saying nothing. And there's a bunch of them that disagree. He's figured it out. And so you have to make sure that you're humble. Let's do it together. Principles. And it will not be long before they rise up a camp against you. All right. Want to push this a little further? Yes. Okay. In leadership, in leadership, there are certain places that you want to go to, and you want to make sure that there are individuals who are with you there. There are places that you do not want to be there by yourself. And you will know who is with you if they value you, because they will say, I I don't want you there without me being there. You say, well, I'm good. I said, no. Well, you know, it was people that, no. I'm going with you because I value you. Now, when you have a person that, well, I'm not going over there because I don't like those people over there. They're in your top tier.
Wow.
In a hotel room in Chicago. They're waiting for one network to call it to make it confirmed, and that was Fox. And Fox News was determined not to call it. They didn't want to call it. But Ohio had sunk and flipped towards Obama. It's 1 a.m. in the morning, and 300 to 400 in the cold. Don't know if there's going to be a celebration or whatever the other word would be. And they call it for the Rock. The picture. Rock is inside the hotel room. A knock comes on the door. And 70 guys walk in there. 70 guys walk in there with black suits on. 70 of them walks in black suits on and says to him, Mr. President-elect, in a second, he's a different man. 70 guys. This guy's got a black briefcase, handcuffed to him. 2 other guys comes in from a whole nother region with the keys. So one got the case, the other got the keys. And they go and they unlock it and they say, hey, and they show him in seconds all the secrets that's going on in this nation. He hasn't even been sworn in yet. Everybody in it is going to be investigated. Every bill, every conversation, everything. Because we can't have you if they have you. We gotta know what they know about you. We're not gonna tell nobody. We gotta know. This is bad preaching. Bad preaching. He goes up there and do the song and his dance. He's now president of the United States. His wife, who loves him, has to make appointments to see him. He's not his own. He was in Washington, D.C., and he was trying to go down the street, said, can't go down this street. The whole street blocked off. It was Thursday night, whole street blocked off. People was all outside every which way. It was in the summer. He said, what's happening? He said, it's Thursday night in Washington. And the Baracks, they like Chinese food. So they go out on Thursday nights between the hours of 9 and 11. And because they're on that street, no one can be on that street and no one can be in the restaurant. Only the people that he invites. So Tony's, and when you go to Washington, D.C., make sure you go to Tony's. It's the best Chinese food in, not Atlanta, Washington. It's called Tony's. Shut up. I'm a Chinese person. And people stand outside trying to get a snapshot. Every time the guy moves, every move he makes, there's a motorcade. Individuals making sure And before he goes anywhere, he's going to eat at 9 o'clock in the nighttime. You rest assured, 2 days before 9 o'clock, they're combing everywhere. We're the only ones that walk with supernatural authority. People that say that they are assigned to us ain't got no time for us. You assigned to me. I'm sharing my ministry with you. I'm sharing my life with you. You ain't got no time for me. You busy the whole time. We do this. This is you the whole time. And mad at you if you don't make space for them and their armor bearers.
Right.
Like we cook extra food upstairs. We didn't cook no extra food upstairs. Serious business. And if you don't have somebody like me, and if I don't have someone like you that can stand in front of our people and plead our case to, because how good am I at it if I'm the one cheering my own cause? That don't look good. Don't look good. And sometimes it's not that the people don't value you, it's just that they don't know too. They don't know too. You know. Lady said, what do you get? Bishop Moore, what do you get a man that has everything? And my mother said, something. See, my mama knew. That person would, what do you get a man that has everything? You got everything. So what we're going to give you, you have everything. You got ties, you got cars, you got this. What we're going to give you? My mother said, something. See, because my mother knew, my mother's old, she knew that that's the person trying to talk me out of receiving something from them because they don't want to give me nothing. What do you give somebody that has everything? You got shoes, yeah, but you still buy shoes. Buy me a pair of shoes. Give me what you want me to have. Don't ask me, give me what you want to have. Just give this to me. My mother going now. My mother talks to me every single day. You can call it witchcraft, voodoo, or necromancy. She's in my head. And she say things to me that is so true. She said it years ago, and now I'm hearing it now. What is longer than a second? What's longer than a second? Come on, you know that. A second. 1 second. What is longer than a second? A minute. Why y'all doing me like this? Because you don't want me to say wrong. And that means you can't grow. You can't grow. You can't grow. But you do know. You know when you teach you how to be a liar, you do know the answer to that one, right? So what is longer than a second? A minute. And what is longer than a minute? An hour. And what is longer than an hour? And what is longer than a day? And what is longer than a week? And what is longer than a year? What is longer than a year? Huh? 2 years. What is longer than a year? And what is longer than a century? When you get to the part where you don't know, guess what? You don't know. That's what you get. I got up to this point, but I don't know the answer to this one. What is longer than a second? What is longer than a minute? What is longer than an hour? What is longer than a day? What is longer than a week? What is longer than a month? What is longer than a year? That's where we get stuck. What is longer than a year? What is longer than a year? We say 2 years ago. Let's not play games. What's longer than a year? I'll tell you right now. A moment. A moment is longer than a second, a minute, a day, a month, a year. It is the moment that will define your longevity. everything that happens that is extraordinary happens in a moment. And the moment happens in the second, the moment happens in the minute, the moment happens in an hour, the moment happens in a day, the moment happens in a week, the moment happens in a year. It doesn't work without the moment. And once the moment happens, if you understand momentum, then you build on it. It happens to all of us. To all of us. It just hits us. The moment I realized such and such a thing was that, from that day to this day, I've never done that before. Again, that's how long that moment lives. You call it. I saw it. It's bigger than time. It's a dimension. It's a dimension. It's a dimension. So, I know that, my staff and stuff like that work and got to do things about the conference, but I always tell them, when Bishop starts speaking, everybody want the people to hear something that you don't hear.
Right.
I want to play the trick, get the two, and then I also tell my staff, and I want every pastor here to start talking to your staff this way. I tell them, do not listen to the sermons the way that the people listen to it. Because I'm not talking to you through the sermon. I'll talk to you, I'll call you on the side and tell you to your face. Do it again and I'll punch you in your eye. But the congregation, so now if you sit in the congregation and try to get the information, well, Bishop must be talking to me. No, I'm not talking to you. You've been compromised. Your spirit's been compromised by a false spirit. You're on staff. I can talk. I go directly to you to talk to you and to tell you what I feel about what I'm saying. You have access to me. I had a staff member that was with us, and people came out and said, "Oh, Bishop, I want to take a picture." The staff member said, "I want to take a picture too." I pushed the staff member last. No, I want to take a picture too. So yes, I said, give the people the chance to have some time with Bishop. You want staff, you get in the office, you can take pictures all you want to. You got my cell phone. You talk to me anytime you want to. What are you doing? Yeah, but I want to take. Okay, you don't need to be staff because you're a groupie.
Right.
Now we got a problem.
Right.
So you're going to put me in a misery situation. They're going to be looking for me. You done snatched me, put me in the basement, and tied me up with a knife. See, I got to be up about you because you done lost your mind. There is no pastor that is not a celebrity in their congregation. Say it.
There is no pastor that's not a celebrity in their congregation.
When the members love their pastor, they love their pastor. And staff have to know when to back off so that the people can have their pastor. Their pastor. It's their pastor. And then you know how to jump in if it gets too crazy and so on and so forth like that. Their pastor. And so those were a few things that I wanted to navigate our way through the convention, because you're going to start hearing you're going to hear some things in the convention that for many, many years has been a problem for me personally. For me personally. When you have to fight for every single thing to have it, and at a young age you're not honored or celebrated, you tend to grow up with a complex, and whether it's rejection, inferiority, or whatever it is, it festers on the inside of you. And if you're not pleased with that, then you turn the negative into your positive and you make it work. But positively negative or negatively positive, those two things are still there. And it shows up at certain times. And so the compensation for diligence, God has to do constantly for that person. Because if he doesn't, to function. Do you understand what I'm saying? Don't just say yes if you don't understand. Okay? All right, so that's it. And when you get to and positively you're building on it, but it's still another complex. So you don't like to hear the word no. Somebody says, we can do such thing. Overseer came to me and he said, the people said that we're going to do such thing, but it's going to cost whatever. And I said, no, no, no. He said, that's all they can do. And I said, go back to them and tell them X, Y, Z. And I said, sit down. Sit down. Why did you take a deep breath? He said, oh, no, 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 for no reason. Well, no, that's not true. You took it because there's air in the room. What is the problem with you going back? And I said, speak your heart and don't be afraid of me. Speak your heart. He said, because I asked him and he didn't. And I said, no, you asked him. Now I'm telling you what he's going to do. You go back and this is what you said. In fact, get a pen and a pad and write down what I said. Ask him this. Because this is what we're going to get. And if not, leave. We're not doing the deal. It's like a light came on in his head. And then he said, cynically, all right. You ever hear people say that? All right. All right is, it's not going to work, but I'll do it because you asked me to. He calls back, Bishop, wow, just like you said, they did it. I said, okay, all right. I said, you know what the problem is, right? The problem is how you act. We sit in a restaurant, and JR sits there and he says to the waiter, you don't have any red chili flakes. She says, no, we don't have. I said, hey. I said, yes, you do. Go get the red chili flakes. She goes back there and bring the red chili flakes. And he told her that she doesn't have it. And she done already worked around tables with us. And know we gonna work her to death, ain't giving none. He said, you don't have any red chili flakes, do you? She says, no, we don't. She ain't even moved on. I said, yes, you do. Going back to the restaurant, you ain't got the red chili flakes. All these spices, it's in there somewhere. And I turned to JR, I said, JR, I can only begin to share with you the amount of things that you've taught yourself out of. Learn how to talk. We get ready to get on the plane. We go into what you call and find out that there's 6 seats left. 6 seats left in Delta Comfort. They oversell all of their flights because they want to fly with full what you call. Oversell don't mean that everybody gonna show up. And they keep pushing and pushing. There's 6 flights. They called this group. I said, I'm in first class. So I'm in first class. I already got first class ticket. I'm in first class. He's in 31E. And 31E don't recline. We're going to be on this plane 5 hours. There's 6 seats in comfort. He said, I'm going to get on the plane. So I said, come here. Sit down. There's 6 seats left. Sit here. I see the security by taking my seat. Let's be the last ones to go on the plane. But Bishop, but people who got around with my older, I said, well, then carry you behind the plane, since you know everything. Go ahead on the plane. Because guess what? I'm in first class. I'm in first class. They giving you peanuts. They gonna give me a lunch. I'm trying to make this comfortable for you. All right. Everybody gets on the plane. We still sitting out there. Then they say, George Bloomer, and they call the assistant that was with me. George Bloomer says, so I go to which card and I said, how much longer before the plane's going? diamond, no, a medallion. And so, see, and she comes out, she says, if this, I said, hold it, see, he's got, this seat, she said, oh, hold on, I'll put you in. And put him in, not Delta Comfort, first class. First class. He was like, oh, that's all right, let's not slap the hell out of him. Get on my nerve. Don't even smile. And he got on the plane, he sat down, he was like, Bishop, I said, the computer, we got the app. The app is telling us the traffic. But you gotta learn how to. Got on there, got up in the air, and he was serving chicken. And I went right off to his plate, and I took my hand, took the chicken right off his plate. Hold the chicken in my hand, went right to the seat and said, eat the beans. This is crazy. You got to know how to talk to people, how to deal with people. Slide another guy. He has a gay body. He's gay phobia. We coming in from Africa, we land, we go through customs, trying to make it on the next plane, and we're right at that, which call, he's standing over acting funny, the guy acting. I told him, I said, I'm getting on this plane. I walked right up to him, I said, hey baby. Yes, I did. Devil, say whatever you want to, I don't care. We getting on this plane. That's right. He said, baby. I said, yeah, baby. You gotta get us on this plane. He said, you something else, ain't you? I said, I sure is. You gonna get me on this plane today. And you gonna make me your buddy. And what's in it for me? I don't know. But we gotta get on this plane. He said, you is crazy. Give me your ticket. And he took my ticket and he started working on it, and he looked behind it and he came and he said, oh my God. I am so sorry. Bishop, no. I said, Lord, woo! Oh my God. I'm over here and everything like that playing with you, and you're the man of God. He said, that's why we like you. See, because, you know, you ain't treat me like all these people treat me all kind of funny and stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. And see, you treat me nice and stuff like that. I said, I got a book for you. He said, what's the book about? I said, I don't know what the book is. I'm getting on the plane. I go to the one.
That's right.
Y'all don't know this. The devil is a loud gang. See, it's the devils that's been blessing me.
Come on, Bishop.
It's the angels that's been fighting me.
Come on.
I'm tired of these angels. Send the demons to me. I can work with them. Cast them out. I'm talking about these righteous people are the righteous. All right. Great afternoon.
Yes.
Okay. Things are changing. You got to make sure that in this season where things are changing and you be in this place, that you reinvent yourself. 60 is the new 40. We prophesize again one time. 60 is the new 40. So tell all the young people that think they're doing something, they ain't doing nothing. George ever said, listen, I've been 40 twice, and I know how to work it. I know how to work it with nothing, and I know how to work it the second time around with everything. All right, let's do some Q's and A's. This is going to be a great convention, and we're believing God for it to be full, overrunning, and a great, great blessing. Who is assigned to pray against the distractions that is going to happen for people who are traveling? Who is assigned to pray for unbelievable financial favor? We ain't got no worries in the middle. So no one feels to pray for that? All right. So, Bishop, I'm here. My name is such thing, and this is what I hope to accomplish this week. Before the week is out, I'm expecting God to do da 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 da. Floor is open. Want to start there? Start there and go that way. You want to start that way and go this way. You want to start this way? They want to start with you. You start that way. You didn't hear? My name is such thing. This is what I believe in God is going to happen. This is what I'm expecting to happen.
I'm Overseer Sharon Davis here in Florida. I am believing God that we will go higher. We will embrace change and be flexible and be open to renew our mindset. Apostle Shirley Brown, Raleigh, North Carolina. I am believing God for strategy to just be on point.
Wow, that's great. That's great.
Apostle Freda Henderson from Greater Word of Truth, Raleigh, North Carolina, and this is my first convocation. And I'm believing God for a lot of those things that I don't know. That when I leave here, that I'm able to go back to my ministry and be a better leader for them.
What was your other convocations like?
We didn't have it.
You didn't have it. Wow. No convocations at all.
We had leadership conference.
Leadership conference.
And women's conference and men's conference.
No convocations.
My name is Roberta Gibson.
But give her the mic again. So when you have your convocation?
When am I going to have my conference?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because you cannot be an apostle and not have a convocation. You can't have it. Right. Excel in your ministry without a convocation. Remember, he left the church to the apostles and the prophets. It's essential. Yeah. That wasn't a rebuke or anything like that. I can be strong, you know. All right.
My name is Roberta Gibson, and I'm here at Bethel, living it. And what I intend to accomplish this week is, I like the title because we're in a season of replacement, and I'm embracing it and looking forward to what's next to come.
Absolutely.
My name is Risa G., Raleigh, North Carolina, and I'm here to work in the ministry in hospitality with the team to make sure we have a successful week in Jesus' name. And we're going to do it. And then in the process, eat some of the crumbs from the table and be changed. Amen.
My name is Pamela Farr, member here at Bethel, one of the elders. And a lot of times we pray, and I think it's always prayer, that will be done, but then we all give up our will. So it's my prayer that we learn, I learn, we're all in the process of learning to believe what God's will is, that we be on one accord.
Amen.
My name is Cynthia Tolles. I'm a member here at Bethel. I am here because I want to have increased knowledge and also increased wisdom on how to use that knowledge, and expecting to God to take me to higher altitudes than before. Shelby Weeks, Raleigh, North Carolina. I'm also here a member at Bethel and on the team that's helping to pull this convocation together. So, convocation, I'm usually running around
helping to support what's going on. So I'm looking forward to taking it all in, learning, and preparing for 2020.
So you're not working this conference?
I am.
Okay.
I'm Sheila. I'm that's lost. I am our staff of the products. I just look forward to the conversation with a great team. Hopefully,
I'm Amos Powell, honored to share with you, with my mom, Apostle C.L.U.R.T, and just honored to be here. The Bible says iron sharpens iron. So look to be sharpened this week to share in the fellowship of the saints.
Wanda Powell, one of the associate masters at New Kingdom Life here with mother-in-law, Dr. D. Seymour. I'm here to learn. I enjoy the atmosphere thus far and look forward to the rest of the week that I can utilize all of this in our local ministry.
God bless you, First Bishop. Thank God again for you. I am Dr. D. Seymour, New Kingdom Life, Atlanta, Georgia, by way of Griffin, Georgia. But what I really am expecting on this conference, this convocation on this week, is the fulfillment of my assignment to you. Each and every one of us in here has an assignment. And my greatest concern is the assignment to be fulfilled. And in this year of birthing and restoration and flood, I know what God is birthing is each and every one of our assignments. And erratically, you said replacements. And so that is so prevalent to me this hour to recognize assignment, what God is making clear in this season. Amen.
My name is Denise, minister at the Worship Center for Lauderdale. I am expecting this week breakthrough, newness. I want the old to be gone and a different level.
My name is Sharon Murray. I'm also with Bethel. And I'm here to learn. I'm also here to receive my blessing from the Lord. I know that God showed you how to think differently, and I'm trusting God that He will reveal to me how to open up my mind in a new way.
I'm here to just learn more about God as I'm
I say that because I had not planned to come. I wanted to come, but I had not planned to come. I actually just had surgery Friday. Because for the last month, God has been dealing with me about word capacity. And that word, now I understand when I came to Vantage. Why? Because my head was hurting so bad when I left because of all the download that you did and my brain trying to just stretch to understand. I'm here to learn, and I don't know a lot, but I'm here to learn, and I'm excited. I love your teaching, and I'm just, amen.
Amen. My name is Bishop Raymond Trice, Florida. I'm here because out of all the years I've been preaching, I've been in many convocations. The Lord told me that I had to be a bishop because this is my bar mitzvah. All these years, I never had anyone to push me or to encourage me like you. And I've grown so much just being around you. You cause me to rethink. You let me know that some things we were doing, we were saying, that we weren't big. So I just want to thank you because a little boy in me. Now I'm going to become a man, and I just want to thank you. And I'm looking for great things this year and years to come. And I'm new to clerk. So welcome, my new clerk family.
I am working on it's bad because I don't think you were consecrated properly. So I'm working on your consecration to robe you properly and to give you as Acts of the Apostle says, an inheritance amongst those who are sanctified. You are a great man. You have a big heart. You are loyal to a fault of your own that opens you up for the enemy to step on you, but it won't happen here. So you're coming into a new hour in Jesus' name. And you know, some people I come to and I said, I need to re-robe you. And someone said, well, I've already been there. I understand all that, but let's go ahead and check the lineage of the person who sprinkled water on you, and you'll see that, hey, I need water. I need some water on me. Yeah, good. And so that's extremely important. And that's going to happen for you. All right.
Greetings, Bishop. I'm here. What I'm expecting is to continue to grow as a servant ministry. That's truly my heart. When you were talking earlier about the difference between preaching and being a pastor, a couple of times when you have said, amongst us, who are you, or preachers, I never stood up because I never considered myself to be that. I always considered myself to have a heart for people, a servant's heart, so I don't see myself as a preacher. So I'm here to maybe learn something a little bit more about myself. And then at the last vantage point, deliverance from my demon of stubbornness has opened my spirit and my heart in such a way now that I'm starting to understand, Robin, it's time for you to put off the old ways and not continue to be shy and stay where you are, but to go forward because God is forward. And I keep telling myself I have to, adopt some new ways of thinking. Amen.
Hi, Bishop. I'm Connie Wright. I'm here this week because I'm faced with a lot of decisions. So I'm asking God to strategically orchestrate my next moves.
Absolutely.
Always learning. And my mother called me this morning. You know who my mother is, Minister Brenda Best.
I sure do.
And she told me that it was going on. So I'm always willing to come and to learn and to grow. And I was just blessed when you just spoke to Apostle Henderson and told her that she needed to do a convocation, because we do an anniversary every year. But for some reason I kept saying convocation. This is a convocation. I'm like, no, it's not a convocation. It's an anniversary. And so there are churches that I cover and we all come together, but it's always, I always say, it's our anniversary, it's our church anniversary. So I don't know why when you spoke that to her, it spoke directly to my spirit and said, you need to start. I'm just happy to be.
So it's probably going to be important that I explain at some point through this week convocation and what it is, the solemn assembly, the holy assembly of God, and so on and so like that. Are you an apostle?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How many apostles in the all right. If you okay. Now that's you know what that is, right? What's an apostle?
Light bearer, one who builds the church, not necessarily buildings, but people, sets order.
So what if I told you that's not true?
I believe you.
An apostle is a deity. The apostle is the only vessel in the covenant between is the only one that God steps into and tells secrets before they manifest in the realm of the earth. Doesn't do it to the pastor, doesn't do it to the teacher, doesn't do it to the evangelist. He does it to the apostle and the so now a person will tell you that an apostle is one who establishes churches. Well, what church did the apostle Paul establish? I want to argue some of these things that people continue to tell us. And when they tried to get the apostle Paul to do it, he says, am I a waiter at the table? Do you to make me come in and the churches are funded? Great day in the morning. There goes those coins on the floor again. I'm telling you. Okay.
Hello, my name is Elder Felicia Kenyon, and I am the elder of Celebration Ministries. And I'm here along with my apostle, and I'm just here to learn.
Hi, my name is Lisa Chambers. I'm a member here. I'm also part of the staff, so I'm working the convocation this weekend. Not only am I the one that needs to learn how to talk, but I'm also the one that needs to say I don't know, and I'm also the one that needs to learn how to start digging for more information. It's an honor to be here to sit up under your teaching vigil.
Good evening. My name is Francina Mills. I'm here to get direction from God. I didn't know that months ago you taught to get in your place, get back in your place. And so I've been a member here at Bethel for about a year in February. So I decided that since being here a year that I had already been ordained as elder, but I hadn't been on a year. So I spoke with Pastor Marshall, and I didn't know that it would actually line up with this convocation. So I'm excited about Saturday. And I'm just looking forward to continuing to grow here at Bethel.
All right. There's certain consecrations are for life, so they can't be revoked. That vows upon me, O God, unto death, so they can't be revoked. So you get a person who's a minister, and then they're not a minister anymore. So get that. But you can't go into eldership and not be an elder anymore. You know, for you, do you want me to shut up or you want me to say what you say? Huh? For you, I saw some months ago pieces of heart tissue scraped on like asphalt or pavement. So it was pieces of your heart that was in the cracks of concrete, where someone just took your heart out and just scraped it on the ground and put it back in your chest. And so you love God, but you're having these moments of palpitations and what you call it, of just being done wrong by people you did right to. And for me, I don't know how to minister to people out of timing. So everything with me is about timing. And so I've been praying and waiting for the right time to say that to you. That you've done well, you've passed the test with something just came to my mind. Don't forget to tell me that, Bishop, you said something came to your mind. So you passed the test with moving forward with the ruptured heart. They bled the hell out of you. And so process. I said, last Thursday I saw you. You remember the text? I can talk about it. Yeah. I sent you a text, and in the text I said that I saw you and you were crying tears. It's coming out of your eyes, and the tears was on the pillow. But when it got on the pillow, this is what blew me away just now. I said something came to me. I was talking to you. Tears was on the pillow. What happened to the tears on the pillow? They turned into golden tears, gold chips. So you're crying, and when you move, pull up gold teardrops. And I don't remember the whole thing because I was actually I woke up and I was giving the word. I deal with me on that. But somewhere in the text, I believe it said that you were going, whatever was held up or something like that. You got the text? Pieces of her heart that was scraped on the pavement, what you call something like that. Her heart on the floor, your tears on the pillow, but there's coins on the ground. So that's what drew me back to the, not that anything I'm saying to her has anything to do with you or her. It just kind of connected the thing to make it open for me, clear. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Good morning. I never look up at prophet or seer. What from time to time, God shows me things in dreams. This morning I want to share with you the dream. I had your load is very heavy. A lot of people are depending on you to make
I remember now. Yes.
man, and yes, even happy. And you do that. God that is on you has gone unappreciated by so many because of your consistency. It's not that they don't appreciate you, it's just that you make things to the point where a problem. But I see your heavy load and the favor, commitment, families, children, grandchildren, ministry in the people, ministries that's heavy, 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 heavy. So I saw you last night in the dream, crying in the tears, running on your pillow. But here's the thing, every tear that you cry, that stained the pillow turned to gold. That's right, gold. Your tears are going to finance, your tears are going to finance your vision. Cheer up, get ready. Whoever has been blocking the flow has just out of you holding tears. Love you very much. He says, you get a little full when you read it. Amen. Love you very much. That's the word of the Lord for you. Blessings on the way. And I'm not just talking. We'll be under blood of Jesus.
And I forgot that until that particular moment that came back. Give her the mic. Give her the mic. So you say what to what I said to you?
I would say that it's accurate from
Um, so who do you think caused those things to happen to you?
Myself.
Huh?
I think I also.
Let me tell you. God. God is, he's so good at what he does. He knows that the way he can bring the best out of us is by bringing the worst to us. So he brings someone to just what you want to kill, and then you shine. That's God. And people got to know it. In the bunker, I shared something. I shared the power of a deck of cards. There are in the deck of cards, there are, and I'll close with this, there's the Ace of Hearts, the Ace of Clubs, the Ace of Diamonds, and the Ace of Spades. Spring, summer, winter, fall, say it. Spring, summer, winter, fall. And that's really, really the deck of cards. The heart represents spring, life. When a baby is born, the first thing the doctor looks for is what? Is the heartbeat. The clover represents summer, when everything has grown. The diamond represents wealth, money, in the fall of your life. And then after you've completed life cycle, the spade is death, it's winter. How many seasons are in a year? 4. Spring, summer, winter, fall. How many weeks in a year? 52. You have the royal family. You have kings, queens, and jacks. Queens, kings, and jacks. How many is in a suit? 4. 3 times 4 is what? 12. How many months in a year? So you got 4 seasons, 365 days, and 12 months. Are you still with me? If you added up all of the cards in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all that up there, you will come up to 300. You will come up to 363. And 2 jokers makes it 65. How many days in a year? 365 days a year. What is the joker? Joker is a fallen king. That's why his crown doesn't stand up. It hangs down. The joker is called a wild card. The reason why he's wild is because he can operate in the domain of the supernatural and also in the domain of the demonic. He can function in both areas. This is the language of life. A deck of cards is the language of life. Say it. I'm not talking about poker, I'm just talking about the language of life. Because the Bible says there'll be signs in the heavens and signs in the earth. If I speak German, French, Japanese, English, Aramaic, what have you, and I go into a casino, there are no cards that are Aramaic cards or Chinese cards. They're all the same cards because the symbols and the numbers are universal. It's a universal language to the point that if you play cards in a casino, most of the people sitting there never talk. They do this because everyone can read the signs and the symbols. You have 2 to 9, right, in cards. You have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. right? And you have one other number, what? 10. Do you have a 1? No. The ace acts as what? A 1, but the ace is a what? It's a double 1. It's two-faced. It's an 11. So it can be a 1 or what? Or an 11. Okay. Now, somebody said, Bishop, what are you talking about? Well, this is the little book. The little book. In the book of Revelations, the Bible says that he's going to give John a little book. He'll eat it and it'll be sweet in his mouth, but bitter in his stomach. When God gives you a vision, the vision is always sweet. It's the completion of the vision that's bitter. You're happy to receive the prophecy. Now work towards the manifestation. It's the manifestation of the thing. So all of the signs in the heavens and the signs that are in the earth is manifested in heaven and in the earth. Now watch what God says. He says that as it is in the spirit, so go it in the natural, right? Doesn't say that. It says as it is in the what? Natural, so go it in the spirit. Everything that governs the spirit world, there's a natural application to it. So we who are spiritual individuals will walk and say to you, and the Lord said X, Y, Z. But the medium who operates in the witchcraft would have to pick up a deck of cards in order to see it. Not just tarot cards, any kind of cards. They can pick up the card and say, you pick a card, and you pick 3, and they say, you're Sagittarius. Because they function out of the signs that function in the realm of the earth. Now let's close with this. Daniel, in Daniel chapter number 5, this is why convocation is very important. In Daniel's chapter number 5, a handwriting comes on the wall. It knocks plaster off the wall. God is upset because they drank out of the holy cups. So they call Daniel. When Daniel comes in, Belteshazzar's wife, who is Nebuchadnezzar's mother-in-law, says this: is respected by all of the gods in the universe. Therefore, he is over all of the necromancers, the warlocks, the Chaldeans, etc. You know how much authority you have in the realm of the spirit when demons are afraid to manifest. You are in your authority. Okay, one more time. The more demons manifest in your presence, the weaker you are in your authority. When demons are afraid to manifest in your presence, it's because you're walking in the full authority of who you are. Because they know if they manifest, you cast them out.
That's right.
If they're okay with manifesting in front of you, they know that you lack certain words that will cause their exodus. Say it again. Exodus. Exit the dust. It's the dust blowing in the opposite direction. Exodus. 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 And so when the children of Israel was leaving, there was a storm that was coming. But the storm rose up above them and went behind. So it was the storm that protected them from the enemies that was coming. And the storm had been conjured up by the warlocks. But because they were in God's will, the spirit that the warlocks sent, if a curse has nowhere to land, then it's returned back to the sender. I think you just missed it. If I say a curse against you, and I curse you, and the curse has nowhere to land, you don't fit the profile of the curse, then the curse has to return back to the person that sent it.
Come on, man.
That's why you bless those that curse. Convocation. You get the definition of convocation? Convocation. Convocation. This is why convocation is important.
An assembly of persons called together to a meeting, an assembly of bishops and representative clergy of the Church of England, a ceremonial assembly of members of a college or university, the active process of calling an assembly of persons to a meeting.
Now, look up the word conclave, okay? So now, the convocation is, out of the book of Leviticus, is a holy assembly. So it's the bishops, the archbishops, especially the Catholic Church that way, and they call once a year a time for all of the churches to come together to get instructions on how that church is going to move, what the direction of the church is going to be, so on and so forth like that. All right. In the convocation, guest speakers come in and speak, but the convocational address or the teaching is done by the chief pontiff, because that's where the direction is coming from. So if we were dressed today, we had our mitre on. The mitre is a hat, and at the top of it, if you turn it over and do like this, it looks like tongues talking. And at the back of it is lashes, because remember, when the day of Pentecost came, it was what? And it said upon each, they began to speak with diverse tongues. So that there's two lashes that goes down to every single piece of the garment can be found in Scripture. There's no piece of the garment that is not found in Scripture. None. Every single piece of the garment can be found in Scripture. And the Catholics are so respectful to God. They know the colors, so they know what to wear in ceremonies in order to honor and respect God. We just do it out of the way. We just do whatever we want to do. And so this is very, very important. People will tell you, well, it doesn't matter. You don't really have to have that. That doesn't really make sense. I get it, okay? But McDonald's has a uniform.
That's right.
Burger King has a uniform.
That's right.
The doctors have a uniform. Why? Every area of life. And many of you who carry pocketbooks, you don't just carry a pocketbook. You carry a pocketbook, a Louis Vuitton, a Gucci. How is the things that concern God does, but everything in the world does.
That's good.
It's just a argument. No ecclesiastical fight. Here we go.
Conclave, a private meeting assembly, especially a meeting of Roman Catholic.
Is a private meeting or a secret assembly. A private meeting or secret assembly. Okay? So there's some people came to me and said, we're doing a conclave. And I said, how many people are going to be there? They said, oh, it's for everybody. What are you doing? You can't have a conclave with everybody. It's a private meeting. Then stop there.
A meeting of Roman Catholic cardinals secluded continuously.
Roman Catholic cardinals.
Secluded
because
continuously.
we're having a conclave tomorrow morning for a few moments, because it's the bishops, the apostles. So now, if we were in the Catholic Church, the apostles would be cardinals in that Reformation, and the archbishops would be the bishops in our, what you call it, and the bishops would be elders in our Reformation. What you call it, it's all the same thing. And then the Pope is the chief apostle. And the assistant to the Pope is called the Vice Chancellor. And so it's different words, but it pretty much the same thing. If we were Mormons, the bishops would be the elders, and the president would be the Pope. They call their head presiding bishop the president. Different things. But here's the important thing of it as we close. The conclave.
Meeting or secret assembly, especially a meeting of Roman Catholic cardinals, secluded continuously while choosing a pope, and a gathering of a group or association. So
now, Delia said something a few minutes ago. She said, we said, well, why are you here? And you said, and she says, I'm here for my assignment. Okay, assignment. But you said something else. You said, my assignment to you is what you said. That's what you said. Because I'm your assignment, right? Now, that discussion has to go on in the conclave. And after we have the conclave, it goes on in the conclave, then that discussion will be released to the convocation, and from the convocation to the local assemblies. That's what what's going on. Now, she said, because her assignment is to me. Now, I revealed something about me today. I said, I've reached a place where I've had to do everything for myself and so on and so on and so on. So now, and I can't stand here and tell you I can't do it, but it wouldn't be right if I was here to promote myself. It would be in poor taste, even if you knew I deserved it. This is poor taste. Somebody would say, Bishop, let me say that for you. You know, pastor's anniversaries and have a mistake, a complication for an anniversary, because it leaves the entire body just the word by itself. Satan wants to do that because he knows that God is not going to come into a convocation if it's an anniversary. Because a convocation is about God, an anniversary is about you. He ain't coming to yours, he ain't coming to your service. We come to your service. We come to your service, he ain't coming to your service. Okay, we go to what? His service. And then it allows you. That's why I said, if you know when you're going to have that stuff. This is an apostolic call. There's a preacher called one time, he said, why you have all the people, they have their own convocations and stuff like that? I said, because it's the Bible. Is it the Bible? I told you to bring. I said, no, that's the Bible. You running a cult. See, that's why you function the way you function. See, you function the way you function because you're running a cult. All right? Well, of course, you know we all running a cult. We're running a good one. He running a bad one. You know, Starbucks is a cult. McDonald's is a cult. Cult in the sense of it's a gathering and it's a brand and people like it and that's where they go to get what they want from. Good. You got that. But see, you trying to make everybody you. Everybody don't like Starbucks. Some people like Dunkin' Donuts, Seattle's best. You get me, right? And so that's that. Right. One of the 12 apostles that was at Jerusalem functioned in the capacity over a region, and they had congregations every last one. That's how it functions. Okay, so just wanted to say that, close that. Bishop George, you talk too much, go ahead and close that. Congregation, last part. Yeah. Now the congregation, not conflict, congregation. Congregation.
Assembly of persons called together to a meeting, an assembly of bishops and representative clergy of the Church of England, a consultative assembly of clergy and lay delegates from one part of an episcopal diocese, a ceremonial assembly of members of a college or university.
So now she said that she has an assignment. And so what her assignment is to George Bloomer is to make sure that George Bloomer is celebrated within the organization. That is a conclave discussion for a vote on the floor. We don't vote in here, but for a vote on the floor at the convocation in agreement. And the way that we vote in Pentecost is with our dollars. You'll find out who is with you through giving. They shake their head all they want to. You'll find out who's with you. Say, we want to buy Bishop this folder, and this folder is $4. You find out who's with you. There's only $4. The person, I want each person to give 3 cents in order for us to get this thing good. You let people say, listen, I'll take care of the whole $4 and the person, oh, let people do what you call it. I'll give $2. Just 4 cents. And yes, people sit there and say, don't give 4 cents. Don't give 4 cents. And during the convocation, that's when you make your decisions where to place them. Because if they don't value you, they can't support you. Value and support. So we keep on wondering, because we ain't never seen you with $100. Ever. Ever. You've been in this church for 40 years. You mean to tell me in 40 years you could save $1 in change in your pocket? And that's how you pick the gift. That's how you pick the wish list. See, they got to, I guess they did pick it in because he gave $100. That's part of the truth. Part of that is true. Because you came to the convention, you spent $100, but you didn't get one. Because you got dressed. And you looking good. And I have an issue with C.L.U.R.T, with the whole organization. And my issue is that not with the ones who do it, but the ones who don't. The whole congregation has got to hear it. And my issue is that we're running the convocation, and we'll do registration. The registration is $25. People want to put $25 on a payment plan. I pay 10 today, 10 tomorrow, 20 payment plan. Then I go to Women Die Loose, and you sitting up there, registration there is $190. How you supporting? Come on now. Are you with me? And it's just like that. And so that is something that has to be dealt with, and has to be articulated, has to be spoken to. We honor the celebrity of a person's secret, and not the service of the person that we sit up under. And so we go to a place because you nothing to, but God understands your heart. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. I think we did good today.
Yeah.
Amen.
Amen.
So make sure that all the kings in your deck, points on their crown, is what? Standing up. I anoint your eyes with spiritual eye salve so that you can see the jokers in your life. Now watch what the Bible says about the deck of cards. If you take certain cards out of the deck, you can't play. If you add certain cards to the deck, you can't play. If you take anything out of this book, you take your name out of the book of life. If you add anything to it, you add plagues to your life. You got to make sure that everyone you're playing with is playing with a full deck. Amen? Signs in the heavens and signs in the earth. And that's how he talks to us. He talks to us by showing us different signs. Stop being oblivious to it and see it. All right, let's praise the Lord real quickly. Let's give him praise.